Hey, it's me again. I do have a microphone this time. I don't have a good lighting setup this time. I think I probably need a ring light because my bedroom is the worst lit room in my whole apartment. But today I really just wanted to like ramble about my two favorite things, movies and shows. I saw Nope last night and I really loved it, and I wanted to talk about my top 5 movies and shows of the year so far. So, at the end of the year, I'll come back and make another video if my ranking has changed. So, this video isn't scripted at all. It's just me rambling about my favorite things. So, if that's not your style, then you don't have to watch this. I don't care. I just wanna, my autism made me do it. So I'm gonna start with shows from number 5 to number 1. Number 5 is Russian Doll Season 2. Now, a lot of people didn't like this season, and I can understand it's extremely different from season 1. And the themes are kind of different, but I really appreciated that. I am someone who is currently unpacking a lot of generational trauma, which is a therapy term, in therapy, mainly from my mom and her mother. So this really resonated with me. It shows Nadia's journey. If you haven't seen it, it's very hard to explain. She goes back in time, but she's in the body of her mother, and then somehow she's also in the body of her grandmother. The logic of this show is out the window, but I love it. And Nadia has spent her whole life blaming her mother for the way that she is. Like, oh, I'm a druggie and I'm crazy because my mom was a druggie and she was crazy. And never really had much empathy for what her mother went through. So in this season, she gets to see exactly what her mother went through, and it was not easy for her mother. Her mother had a lot of mental issues. I believe, I could be wrong, I believe they specifically say schizophrenia. And she really gets to understand what it's like being a woman with mental issues, especially in that time in the 80s when like nobody wanted to help you, not even your own mother, who didn't necessarily mean malice. She was very stressed out. She was a Holocaust survivor. She had a lot of shit on her plate. And it's a good reminder to all the daughters out there that your mother was mothered too. And her mother was mothered too, and her mother was mothered and mothered and mothered and mothered and mothered. There's a great quote at the end of the show that involves Alan, who experienced the same thing that Nadia did, where he was in the body of his grandmother. And I relate to Alan a lot. As someone with both autism and OCD, I heavily resonate with Alan. There's this scene at the end, and I'm not even going to say it, I'm just going to play it.
I'm sorry for being this way.
You are just like me. We can't spend our lives so scared of making the wrong move that we never live at all. Don't be so afraid to live.
Yeah, I killed myself, so I don't really know how to live with that. It all just seems so much easier for everybody else.
Because every time I think about it, I tear up and I get chills. Oh my god. I just want to grab that boy by the shoulders and say, "You have autism!" But to me, this was an incredible season full of incredible performances. Annie Murphy, who you know as Alexis from Schitt's Creek, delivers a really heartfelt, kooky, loving performance of Nadia's therapist, Ruth, who Nadia learns helped her mother when nobody else would. I really loved everything about it. I completely understand if it wasn't your thing, because it's a huge jump from season 1. But mommy issues. Now, number 4 is Barry season 3. I don't know how this show is considered a comedy anymore. Because Jesus Christ, if this season wasn't the most agonizingly anxiety peddled thing I have watched, my God, ooh, even thinking about it, like, I get agita, but like in a good way. Bill Hader really shows off his directing chops with this season, which I absolutely loved. I believe he directed every episode of this season. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I apologize. But he is so talented, and he is screaming for a horror movie deal, especially with episode 7. His camera work, there's a scene where Sally is sort of rambling and spiraling, like her mind is not in the right place. She just did something kind of borderline violent, and she's trying to justify it. And as she's justifying it, she is pointing to her agent who is accusing her, and she is going back. She's walking backwards into the darkness. And I was like, spoilers if you haven't seen the last episode, but then in the next episode she fucking kills a guy. Granted, it was self-defense. It started as self-defense, but she did go overboard, and like, good for her. I'm not saying she shouldn't have. I think she's put up with so much shit in her life that it was bound to happen sooner or later. I truly think that last episode is a never-ending panic attack. Because even after you watch it, oh my God, there is such a sinking feeling in your stomach of dread. Just absolute dread. I think Barry really proves how much you cannot have comedy without tragedy. In fact, none of the comedy in Barry, even though there's very little comedy in season 3, would be without the great tragedy that is Barry. Obviously, Bill Hader kills it every fucking season, and so does Henry Winkler. But my standouts this season were Sarah Goldberg as Sally, and Anthony Carrigan, who delivers a surprisingly emotional roller coaster performance as NoHo Hank. The last scene we see of Sally, I believe, in the last episode, after she killed someone, oh my God. I know it's kind of stupid to, like, care about the Emmys and stuff, but I cannot believe the snub. I almost don't want to even watch it. I mean, I'm gonna, because it's my fucking Super Bowl, but coming in at number 3, we have The Boys Season 3, which, oh my God, deals with so much. There are so many things happening. There is very much a conversation going on in the show about what it means to be a boy. What it means to be the boy. What it means to be hyper-masculine, American masculine, toxic masculine. And that really all comes to a head in this season. Like, it really shows, especially with Huey. Huey is known as, the good guy, the canary, the one with his foot on the ground, and he usually drags the gang back from doing something morally dubious. But when his masculinity is seemingly threatened, and he realizes that he can't protect his girlfriend in the way that she protects him, he gets very pushed over the edge. And spoilers if you haven't seen it, he He gets superpowers. Not actually. Like he shoots up a deadly drug to get superpowers. Because he believes that this is what it means to be a man. This is what it means you have to fight for your girl, even if she doesn't want it. Um like you have to always protect her and always fight for her. And obviously this does stem from his dad not doing much when his mother left. And he says this when he apologizes to Annie at the end. He says like, I thought that was weak, but I didn't know what strength was. And so he does realize at the end that like real strength, real like positive masculinity is whoever you want to be. It doesn't have to be someone that you feel like you have to be. And I did appreciate that. I will go more depth into this because I'm planning on doing an essay about the boys and the notion of American masculinity soon. But this season, wow, this season really crossed some lines. Really, like, just when you think the boys can't go any further, they do. And the political satire, especially, was very, very apparent in this season. And I know that's not a lot of people's thing. I don't really mind it. I do think sometimes it's a bit heavy-handed in this show, but it's funny either way. Like it's obvious that Homelander and his fans represent, the alt-right movement in America, and I really do. I do appreciate that. I do appreciate that portrayal, because a lot of times when you live in America, you feel like you're going crazy because it's like, how does this happen? How does this happen? How did that happen? Why are people doing that? And I really do feel like the boys puts up a metaphorical mirror to it. Again, I don't want to go too deep into this because I plan on making this another video. But man, the boys season 3. Holy shit. Jack Quaid, you are my favorite nepotism baby, and I love you so. Wait, I can't choose between Jack Quaid and Maya Hawke. Jack Quaid and Maya Hawke, you are both my favorite nepotism babies, and I love you so much. Number 2, we have the bear. I learned about this show through the timeline. I watched it because I saw a fan cam of the lead character, played by Jeremy Allen White, to one of my favorite Arctic Monkeys songs, and I thought, well, let's give it a shot. And I loved it. I really, really loved it. I know nothing about food, absolutely nothing. But you don't really need to know much about food to watch this. It really doesn't feel like you're watching a bunch of cooks. It feels like you're watching like a high stakes sports game. The Bear is about a lot of things. Obviously, it's about a restaurant in Chicago, but it's also about grief and trauma and unity and exactly what it means to be like a work family. And you know how much of a sucker I am for found families. So I really did appreciate this. It is fucking hysterical. I haven't laughed at a show like this since I watched Veep. Jeremy Allen White is obviously incredible, but Ayo Edebiri delivers such a meticulous and charming performance as Sydney, who ended up being my favorite character. Eben Moss Backrack delivers a hilarious performance as Richie. If you follow me on Twitter, you've seen my live tweet of this show, and how much I repeat things that he said. Most notably, Sydney, sorry about the gun, babe. I had to get real. What it really is about is a bunch of people coming together after a tragedy, and how you can make something incredible out of grief and out of trauma, and that destruction breeds creation, which seems like such an abstract ideal for a show about a deli, but like that's literally what I got out of it. And that is something that I hold so dear to my heart, and I believed throughout my life. I don't think I would be alive if I didn't believe that destruction breeds creation. Like, that is really one of my mottos, and I haven't seen a show portray it that well, like this. And then number one is Severance, obviously. Uh, you know I love sci-fi mind bendy shit. But this has gotta be, this is some elite sci-fi mind bendy shit. And I admittedly watched it as a thirst watch for Adam Scott, okay? I admit it. But I ended up absolutely swallowing it. Like, I just could not get enough. I think I finished it in 2 days. Like, my parents told me to wait for them, like, but they're too slow. I finished it in 2 days. Severance is about a procedure you could get done in your brain where you can sever your work life and your home life. So when you go home, you have no idea about what you do at work. When you go to work, you have no idea what you do at home, which obviously leads to some mind bendy, memory loss, what is my brain doing sort of shit, which I love. The show is just chock full of amazing performances. I want to say the whole cast, because like literally I can't pick and choose. I just think the whole cast is fucking phenomenal. Well, if I had to pick and choose, I would say Patricia Arquette's kind of cartoony villain voice didn't do much for me, but it wasn't enough to ruin this absolute masterpiece of first season. The company that the characters in Severance work for turns out to be very culty. Uh, very literally. And I will not say the plot twist at the end because you need to experience it for yourself. You need to. Those last 5 minutes, you haven't watched it. I need you to watch it. I need you to watch it. But please watch it. Please talk to me. Now we're gonna do movies. Coming in at number 5, we have Turning Red, Pixar's new movie. I dropped my microphone and my dog's hair is all over it. Turning Red, at its core, is a movie about puberty, but literally it's a movie about how a 13-year-old girl turns into a red panda when she has some overwhelming emotions, and it turns out that all the women in her family do as well. It's an extremely charming, meaningful, and just absolutely adorable movie about female friendship and what it means to be a girl, and puberty and awkwardness and loving your friends and loving your mom but also hating her, but also loving your mom because, again, your mother was mothered too. And that's something that I'm working on a lot in therapy, and so that's why I'm bringing it up again. But it really rings true, especially for this movie. Sandra Oh plays the mother, and she, in my eyes, Sandra Oh could do no wrong. I just love Sandra Oh so much, and she does incredible voice work in this movie. And she plays a very strict, overbearing mother. And I related to this movie a lot because I have a very overprotective mother. I would say our relationship is more like Marlin and Nemo from Finding Nemo, but this still showed a lot of things that actually happened in my life. And it really did make me. I'm not gonna get emotional. Fuck that. No, I'm not. It really did make me even more appreciative for her and the sacrifices she made to even have me in the first place. And I think everyone, whether or not you're a girl, but especially girls, should watch this with their mom. Number 4, we got the Batman. Oh my god. Oh my god. Probably my favorite theater experience of the year. I saw this in a packed theater the Monday after it came out with my dad. Me and my dad had some thoughts after we got out of the theater. Here's some. Like I saw some people complaining that like he had only one expression throughout the whole movie, but I think what makes it so
Are
good
you
is that
kidding me?
right?
It's supposed to have, people are so fucking stupid. I'm a dumb fuck when it comes to shit like this. And you're gonna sit there and say, oh, you had one expression. What was he supposed to do? Fucking smile? Blow
Right?
snot out of his nose?
Right?
What the fuck do you want, you stupid asshole?
What I really loved about this movie, and there is a lot of things to love about this movie, especially as someone who is very adamantly Team Scorsese. But what I love the most is how much we really see Bruce Wayne as a traumatized man. We don't really get to see that much in other Batman portrayals, but this is like he is going through it, understandably so. Like you forget because Batman is such a symbol of, what it means to be like a man and like grittiness and being stoic and being tough. You forget what he went through. You forget that he is a lonely, lonely man who is mourning the death of his parents every single day. He cannot get over what happened to him as a kid. And again, I don't want to go too much into it because I do want to make a essay. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I do want to make an essay about the Batman and the biblical references in the Batman. But my god, what an adrenaline rush this movie is. And the thing is it doesn't feel like an adrenaline rush because it's fucking 3 hours long, but it is like it's kind of just like one thing after the other, and then there's a couple beats in the movie that make you catch your breath, and I do think that is needed. I know a lot of people complain about the length of the movie, but I feel like if it was just like bam bam bam, it wouldn't have the same emotional impact as it does. Obviously, you've heard me sing my praises about Robert Pattinson, and Paul Dano. I have loved Paul Dano since I watched Little Miss Sunshine. Paul Dano is one of those actors that makes you nervous laugh. Like he does some shit and you're like what the fuck? That is proven so true in my theater experience watching the Batman. Especially especially in the confrontation scene between Batman and the Riddler, which is my absolute favorite scene in the movie. Um, when Batman is trying to get some information out of him, he just goes, Ave Maria. Fucking everyone had the same reaction, which is like, should I laugh? Is this funny? I think in his career, like no one embodies that should I laugh statement as much as Paul Dano. And I absolutely adore this cast. I adore this movie. Fucking superhero movie of the year, superhero movie of the decade so far. It's probably going to be hard to top. But again, this isn't really a movie as much as it's an immersive experience into Bruce Wayne's like psychological issues, which as someone who psychoanalyzes like characters and media, I really really loved. Number 4, the movie I just saw last night, Nope. I loved this so much, and I am going to try to talk about it without spoilers because I know it's literally like the day after it came out. So I am going to try my best to like summarize it and review it without spoilers. So forgive me if it sounds like very weird, but I don't want to spoil this movie because I just really loved it so much. I think a lot of people are gonna go in expecting some elevated horror, like something wrapped in layers of metaphor, and I'm gonna be honest with you, you're not gonna get it. Um, but that's what kind of made me love it more. it is just at its core, it's a monster movie. It's a sci-fi adventure kind of. It reminded me of like Jaws or Jurassic Park with aliens, and you could tell that this movie is very much an homage to Steven Spielberg. Which, I mean, if you know me, you know I don't love Steven Spielberg's newer stuff, but I really, really love his old movies. Man, this movie, it's just so fucking cool. And it's it manages to be original while still paying homage to, the great sci-fi horror monster movies of the past. And I think that's really tough to balance, but if anyone could do it, it's fucking Jordan Peele. I adore Jordan. He's obviously one of my favorite directors as a horror lover, and also just as a comedy lover. I've loved Key and Peele, and I just like Sandra Oh. Jordan Peele can do no wrong. Keke Palmer really lights up the screen in this movie. She plays such a boisterous and bold character, and she's able to make you laugh and cry in this movie, which is incredible. I just think she's such a multifaceted actress, and I would love to see her in more dramatic stuff after this. Daniel Kaluuya as well. He delivers a great performance as always. He plays Keke Palmer's character's older brother, and he's very much the opposite of her in a lot of ways. He's very stoic, he's very restrained, but his performance is still so moving and tear jerking at times. I got a little tear jerky. I won't say what or when, but I did. This really is at its core like a tribute to like monster media, like things like Godzilla and King Kong and Jaws and Jurassic Park. And I think people aren't really going to like it because of that, because they're expecting some Us or Get Out stuff. But I liked it because of that, because I do love like all that monster shit, and I do love directors doing something new. I love that he decided to do something new. And as much as I love Us and Get Out, I do think that this is very refreshing for him. He got to explore a lot more with his comedic side in this film, because it's not as dire and serious as the themes in Get Out and Us, which are very obvious about being about racism and classism. But no, this is just aliens, and I just love you, Jordan Peele. All right, and number 2, Everything Everywhere All at Once. I do actually think that this is the best movie of the year, but I usually reserve the number 1 spot for my favorite movies of the year as something that is deeply personal to me. So that's why it's in number 2. I just have like a little tradition of that. And what to say about this movie? This movie is this movie is literally everything everywhere all at once. Like that's literally the movie. It means a lot to me. It's about a woman who is living the worst version of her life. And I think a lot of us feel that way as people living the worst version of our lives. And she is given the opportunity to see versions of herself and harness versions of herself that she didn't even know existed. It very much lies in that multiverse string theory. And I came out of it thinking like I could be anything. I could be like a chef with a raccoon in my hat. I could be a kung fu star. I could be an actress. Like I could literally do anything. And there are probably versions of me doing those things right now. And the tragedy is I'll never get to meet them. But in this movie, she doesn't really meet them, but she could see them. And I've always appreciated string theory and multiverse theory, so this movie did mean a lot to me, especially because I do believe I'm living the worst version of my life, and how at the end she's like, I don't want to be anywhere but here, and that really Again, that made me cry. I used to not be emotional with movies, but I think now the more I relate to them, the more I cry at them. But yeah, I don't want to say much because I just want you to watch this movie. And finally, coming in at number 1, we have Cha Cha Real Smooth. Now this is just a very simple slice of life movie that I just loved so much. I felt so many facets of myself in this movie throughout two characters, especially the main character, who is a 22-year-old who seemingly has no direction in life, and he doesn't know what he wants to do. He feels very left behind, like very very like left behind all his friends. And as someone who like didn't go to college, I feel that hard. I feel that sort of isolation, that sort of like, but what about meism? And he finds his niche in this movie, which, I think I've kind of found my niche doing this, at least for now. And that just, that just warms my heart and gives me so much hope. Uh, I haven't smiled as much watching a movie as I think my cheeks hurt watching this movie because of how much I was smiling. And of course, there's an autistic character in this movie. I have not seen an autistic character portrayed with so much grace and so much sympathy since Abed from Community. And the thing is she's explicitly autistic. Like, people say that she's autistic. Like, it's not just coding. It's like she's explicitly autistic. And to say that, it shouldn't be revolutionary. It really shouldn't, but it feels like it is, especially in this climate when we are using the term neurodivergent to mean autism, and people are like so afraid to say the word autism because they think it's a bad word. But it isn't. Like, autism can mean like so many things. Like, autism is a different experience to everybody who has autism. And, you know, again, tangent. I won't go off on a tangent. As I was saying, there's an autistic character in this, and that meant so much to me. A lot of the scenes with her got me emotional because she was portrayed with such grace and such care and such love, and she was also played by an autistic actress, which made me super 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 happy because I want to go into the film industry, not as an actress, but as a writer, maybe a director. Who knows? And to see someone autistic in the industry, like, who says that they're autistic, makes me so happy. Like, little old me could do it, And yeah, so that's the end of this video. I hope you like it. If you do like it, let me know, because I will do more unscripted, like, fucking rambles about shit. Because that's kind of my specialty. I do this a lot more on my TikTok, but I wanted to make a long form video, and there's a 3-minute limit on TikTok. So here I am. Hopefully next time I will have better lighting. But yeah, I hope you have a good day. I hope you watch these. I'll be watching you. See ya.